What's up, Reno Bros? Welcome to your week one video for year 2024. Some of you might be wondering, are we still doing videos this year? Tanner, what do you think about that?
Yeah, we are.
Right on. Okay, welcome. Week one, we are in the 10th year of Reno Bros. We started, our first year was in 2015, so we've had 9 complete years before this, and 2024 is the 10th year of Reno Bros. So a lot of the faces are familiar. We've added some people along the way. Really like this group that we have this year going into it. And we all had a heck of a draft on Friday night. Appreciate Steven, I know, is on the East Coast, staying up a little late to get that done. So shout out to him for staying up and uh, joining us for the draft for those of us on the West Coast. Appreciate that. It was a fun draft. Man, auction drafts are an absolute whirlwind. I was exhausted at the end. I don't know how you were feeling about all that, Tanner.
Well, I was actually in the middle of being a dungeon master for a Dungeons and Dragons game for my weekly Friday game. And I was under the impression that we weren't going to be doing that. And I got my dates crossed. And so I ended up doing both.
So you were
So in
hanging
the,
out with your cool friends and you're like, guys, I got to go draft with these nerds.
yeah. So in the middle of the game, basically in the middle of a conversation, I said, "Oh, it's 7 o'clock, guys. I need to detune and just focus on this for about 45 minutes."
Right, 45 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. And then it turned into hour and 45 or whatever, however long we went.
Yeah, no, that was a long draft. I think it was longer than last year. I think last year we were still done in under an hour and a half.
Last year was like an hour and 15. We did it. I think we were really on top of it.
Yeah, yeah. I remember yeah, I told my girlfriend, I was like, oh no, yeah, we'll be done by like 8:30. We can have people over after. It'll be totally cool. And then it was like 9 o'clock. She was half asleep on the couch, and I just had a glass of wine and passed out too. Like I was so tired.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was, and I had another 2 hours of the game after that, so
Holy moly.
I was brain blasted. That was fun.
Holy moly. Yeah, I bet. Okay, well, it was still fun. And we all got some teams, and you are here to do the hardest Chubb ranking of the year. And that's the first one because we never get it right.
Nope.
I forget. I was looking back at last year's and it was like comical at the ones we started with. I'm sure we'll look back at this Chubb ranking and kind of laugh. But hey, they pay us
Yep.
to try. And so we're
Yep.
gonna do that, and we're gonna do it in the same method that we were doing last year. So let's see, Zoom updated on me. I was laughing like so the free Zoom, which is what I'm using for this,
Hmm.
it used to give you like a 45 minute, and now it's only a 40 minute. I was like, oh man, really killing me on those 5 minutes.
I love that. Taking
But I think
away
we're going to
your
get it
minutes.
done quicker than that. Because you are the guest, I'm going to let you go first, and I would like to hear your first full Chubb team of the 2020 Reno Bros season.
Oh, well, it was kind of tough to pick, but I ended up going with Steven. Steven has a fantastic team, in my opinion. He's got a really Well, actually, I guess wide receiver is probably his only weakness. Everything else, I feel like, is a strength for him. He's got something good at every single position.
Okay, I like the pick. I actually did not have Steven very high in my rankings. So let's see. Let me pull up Steven's team here. Um, Right. Okay. Yeah. So CMC Pacheco, I actually have that same running back core in my family league.
Yeah,
Yeah. For me, it was I don't like the quarterbacks between Goff and Carr. I understand we're 6 point passing touchdowns, and Goff's early schedule is kind of a cakewalk.
yeah,
Don't love the wide receiver core. I just think there's a lot of question
same.
marks. So
Yes,
yeah, I had Steven lower, but hey, we're gonna put him up at full Chubb because I'm a nice guy and I let my guests uh, kick it off. All
I
right,
appreciate that.
I'm going to move into my first full Chubb team that I want to highlight. And for me, that is Tommy. I really like Tommy's balance. I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a great year. It doesn't matter passing or throwing, he's going to get some touchdowns. I think Caleb Williams is a solid quarterback too. I don't think he's going to be setting any rookie records necessarily, but I think he's a solid wide receiver, quarterback too. I like the Marvin Harrison, AJ Brown wide receiver core. I think Kenneth Walker is going to have a good year. Devin Singletary should be pretty good. And he has a passable tight end, which is something that I certainly can't say. So I like Tommy's team a lot. So he is my first full Chubb team.
Yeah, I really like Tommy's team as well. The only issue that I have with Tommy, I also have him at full chub. But the only issue that I have with this team is he seems to be banking on these top level rookies to really land this year. Like
Yep.
Marvin Harrison Jr.,
Adunze,
Adunze, Caleb Williams.
Marvin
Man,
Harrison. Yep.
yep. So those top three, like if those end up not working out or not being as good as they say they are, he might be in a tight spot. But again, if they work out like they say they're going to, he's in a fantastic spot. So agreed, full
Yep.
chub.
100%. And yeah, obviously counting on a big step forward for Drake London now that he actually has a quarterback. I think
Absolutely
it's
true.
reasonable. All
Fair.
right, let's hear our last full chub team.
I've got the champ. I really like his team. He's got a really good running back core, and and a really good wide receiver core. Debo Samuel, Cooper Kupp, Michael Pittman. Like you can't argue with that. Coupled with Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry, I really like that team. Brock
Yeah.
Purdy, you can go either way, and Aaron Rodgers, he hasn't played in a year, so I guess we'll see. Um, but the rest of his team makes him a full chud for me.
Got it. Now that was another team I had at no chub. Don't love the Brock Purdy, Aaron Rodgers combo. Maybe I'm caught in the old ways of like kind of need a rushing quarterback. Love the running backs. Obviously, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, James Cook, like that a lot. And then
Yep.
obviously a ton of upside with Debo Samuel and Cooper Kupp. But I think there's some question marks there, so that's why he wasn't. And then Kate Otten, he's like me. He's another guy who's really reaching at tight end. So we'll see. I had Junior down at no chub, but either
Hey,
way, he is locked in right now as our first, or excuse me, our final full chub team for week one. Okay, let's move on then to half chub, where I'm gonna get some of the names that I had up there. The next name I want to share is gonna be Kuzi. I really liked his team after the draft. I always like Kuzi's teams. We have very similar like valuation of players, so we were unfortunately bidding against each other quite a bit. But like I really like Amon Ra. I think Puka's still gonna be good. Jalen Waddle. I think that's the best receiver core in the league. I
totally
think
agree.
Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson, I don't really love that. But I think also with his running backs, Jerome Ford, ETN, and Rashad White, I think he's got a lot of depth there. And he's also got really good quarterback depth. He has four starting quarterbacks, which I think could be a factor here. So I really like Kuzi's team. As I was saying some of those names, I was like, yeah, he's probably actually a half chub, not a full chub, but that worked out. So we've got him at half chub.
No, I really like his team too. Puka, Amon-Ra, and Waddle. Like what a wide receiving core. I have zero faith in the Browns. I have no faith in Deshaun Watson.
But
On
if
some
Deshaun
ways,
Watson is like average, it'd be an improvement.
I understand, and you're totally right. I just have no faith in it. I do not believe in that quarterback. But I mean, someone's got to take a flyer on him, and hey, maybe he's right. And if so, he's got a hell of a team.
Right. Well, you've got 30 years history on your side on that one.
True.
Okay, give me another half chub team.
I have Joe.
Oh,
Joe is
what? Is that a joke?
yeah. No, I actually really like Joe's team.
Go on.
I like Patrick Mahomes. I really like James Conner this year. I like Olave. Njoku was really good for me last year, and I think Herbert's going to have a rebound year with Jim Harbaugh. Um, I don't know. His bench is a little weak, but I really like Joe's team.
Yeah, so Joe spent all his money on like 85% of his starting roster. And then he
Absolutely
had to
true.
go. So it was on auto draft essentially and just got a bunch of $1 picks. I would have liked Joe's team a lot more if he still had AJ Brown and Tyreek Hill, but he doesn't.
That's
I do
true.
agree. I like the quarterbacks with Patrick Mahomes, and I do think Justin Herbert's going to be. I don't think they're only going to run. I think the Chargers will throw the ball every once in a while.
I agree.
Um,
I agree.
I think James Conner is a good running back, but I don't think I would be stoked with him as my running back one if I wasn't super deep elsewhere. So Joe's team was not
Okay,
one of my favorites.
I hear
But
you.
I'm honoring the tradition and Joe is up at half chub.
Hey,
All right. It
leave
feels
it to me.
criminal, like some of these teams that I feel like are going to end up at no chub, but I'm going to roll down to the next team that I liked. And that was going to be Ari. Really like Ari's team. I think Lamar Jackson's going to have a great year. I like the running backs of Jonathan Taylor. I think Najee's going to be fine this year. Jamar
Mhm.
Chase, I'm banking on Jamar Chase like playing and like being Jamar Chase. Now, obviously, there's some weird contract shit going on with him. He's got 2 years left, but I guess he wants a new one.
Right.
I like DK Metcalf. I like Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram's going to get so many receptions, and with 2 point uh, PPR for tight ends, I think that's going to be huge. I think he's got good depth at running back. Now I don't love obviously the quarterback situation. Like right now, he's actually got Chuba Hubbard in instead of
Mhm.
Russell Wilson, which that's kind of bizarre, but also with the way we're doing scoring this year, could play. But I do like Ari's team quite a bit, and so that's why Ari is the last half chub team that we've got here.
I
Like I
actually kind of
said, kind of criminal some of these teams that I think should be up higher that are going to end up getting no chub, but that's okay. Like I said, we're supposed to get these week ones uh wrong. So this is going to be fun. Let's hear your first no chub team, Tanner.
well, hey, leave it to me to mess up any rankings.
I,
Um,
I could be totally off base. I could be ranking teams off of like last year's scoring, which is probably what's happening.
hey, you never know. Seth, I actually think I have you as the next one up. I had you higher, but like you said, we've kind of run out of space on the higher end. So I really, really, really like your team. I'm a big believer in Kyler this year. I'm kind of a homer, and I don't know if you can tell.
I'm kind of in on them
Um,
too. So
I think your wide receiver group is fantastic, and Bijan, as always, is a stud. So I don't know. I really like your team. I think it should be higher than No Chubb. So
yeah,
probably some whiffs on my end.
I initially hated my team going out of the draft, and maybe it's just sleepers like projection has like my sleeper projection has gone up 9 points. I haven't done
Yeah.
anything, but the I don't know what they've changed the numbers. It's gone up 9 points since I like first set my lineup on Friday night. So it's probably like nothing more than placebo, but I'm feeling better about my team now because of that.
Pumping the ego up.
Yeah, did not like my team, but now that I've looked at it more, I do. I think I got really good value at wide receiver. Josh Jacobs is really going to be my kind of we'll see player. I was in on
Yeah,
him. I ended up spending more than I wanted to on him, but
sure.
it's kind of going to be a we'll see. So if Josh Jacobs is good, I think I'm going to be right there. If Josh Jacobs sucks, I'll be a no chub team.
Well, you'll be on the hunt for a trade, probably.
Yeah, yeah, there we go. Okay, the next team that I've got to talk about, I'm just kind of going down my list of rankings. It's going to be Vote. I do think Vote's team, again, is probably higher than a no chub, but we're going to start him there, especially after his acquisition of Tyreek Hill for pennies on the dollar. But in some ways, I didn't like I didn't like Vote's team as much as I thought I would. Now that I'm looking at it, it's the A Rich and Jaden Daniels question for me.
Mhm.
Obviously, on upside, he could be unbeatable, but there's definitely a downside case for both of his quarterbacks. Zay Flowers and T. Higgins, not exactly bastions of consistency. And then the running backs, Tajay Spears and Zach Moss, we'll see. Now, what's going to be interesting is if he's kept afloat by his tight ends with Sam Laporta and Dalton Kincaid with the 2 point scoring, very possible. So Vote's team is actually really interesting to me. I think it's got a ton of upside, but I do think he's got a lower floor than some of these other teams. So that's why he's not in my upper echelon of teams. But I do still think he's going to be pretty fearsome week to week.
Yeah, like you said, I was just about to say the same thing. Is he's got a tremendously high ceiling, very low floor though. Anthony Richardson scares me. I hope the guy learns to protect himself a little bit better so that we can keep seeing him play because, like you said, he's damn near unbeatable when he's on and playing. So, and I love the Tyreek Hill wide receiver. I had him last year and I rode that dude all the way to the playoffs.
I've
It was
never
awesome.
had Tyreek Hill on one of my teams. It's like I had a chance I'm not supposed to say those words. I had a chance elsewhere, let's say,
Hmm.
but I went CMC. So I
That's
hope he
fair.
plays one more year and I can find a way to get him.
There you go. There you go. But CMC is a good choice.
All right. Is this me? No, this is you. You're the next. You're next.
Yep, yep, yep. I've got Connor. He's got a solid team, and I think CJ Stroud's going to have a really good year along with the Texans. I like the acquisition of Diggs, so I really like Connor's team. A
Keep
Chain
talking.
is
Keep talking while I pull up his team.
yeah, yeah. Kyron Williams, Devant, A Chain. I was doing the same thing. Tank Dell, Xavier Worthy, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like he's got a lot of really solid guys, and Tua. I actually really like him as a quarterback, so I think he's got a
Great
good pick.
quarterback
And
too.
Yeah, and he's got Trevor Lawrence backing him up. So I mean, the guy can do no wrong here. I think this is a really solid team. So
Yeah, really good depth. I like his bench, Dalton Schultz, Gabe Davis. Like those are obviously not guys I want starting, but that's a pretty good bench.
absolutely,
Yeah, Tank Dell I think is going to smash. I
yes,
don't love the receiver core. Definitely some question marks there. So I do think like a no Chubb is an appropriate ranking for Connor. But
sure,
yeah, there's definitely some upside. I think he's going to be absolutely competitive week to week. So I think that's a pretty good analysis there.
fair enough.
All right. Well, now it's time to do some deductive reasoning and fill out our reverse chub teams. I'm going to start with yours because yours is my favorite. I had you up at a half chub team, Tanner.
Really?
Yeah, I do like your team.
Okay.
Let's see here. Where are you? The Burrow Brigade.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
I think obviously, I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be great, especially with receptions and first downs. I don't think he's going to get the volume that's insane, but I think he's going to be a pretty efficient back. I
yep,
like your wide receiver core. I understand the
yep,
question marks on Justin Jefferson, but I still think he's going to be good. I like DJ Moore. I like Christian Kirk. I think Travis Kelce has one more year left in him.
yeah.
And I like your quarterbacks in a 6 point passing touchdown league. I think Burrow and Geno Smith are a really good 1-2 punch. So I do like your team. Also, I think you've got some decent depth. I mean, Jamison Williams, like he could pop. Pat Fryermuth, great value. I
Mhm.
think you've got a pretty good team.
I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, and I felt pretty good for my first couple rounds, and ended up landing Jefferson for $40. So I understand why his price fell and the question marks around him because freaking Sam Darnold. But who knows? Maybe because he's throwing Justin Jefferson the ball, he's going to have a hell of a year. So
Yep. Yep. But hey, reverse Chubb status.
I'll take it. I'm okay with
So
that.
it goes. All right. Are you gonna talk about Jesse or Peter?
Let's talk about Peter. So let's talk about Peter. Let me pull Peter up.
The butt snorkeler.
The butt snorkeler. So I think he could have a awesome team. But the question marks that
But
I have are the off the field issues. Dak Prescott hasn't had his number one wide receiver for most of the offseason, right? CeeDee Lamb's been holding
yeah.
out. Yeah. So, and Brandon
Well,
Ayuk's been holding
CeeDee
out.
Lamb signed now though.
Yeah, so he's signed now, but he hasn't had a training camp worth of practice to go through.
Right.
And I feel that that's very important. Same thing with Brandon Ayuk. And then Stephon Diggs, that could be either a boom or bust because you're coming out of a bad situation that sounds like that he was
See,
ending in
the thing
Buffalo.
for me with Stephon Diggs, and I agree with you. I don't love this team. Is I think best case for Stephon Diggs is like a wide receiver two.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that because CJ Stroud already has a connection with some of his other wide receivers, so this guy's just kind of get tacking on to the middle of it. So maybe year two for them will be more of a big year for them, kind of with their connection. I don't know. I'm just his team's kind of a blip to me, and I don't mean that in a mean way, but like I don't know. There's just some question marks for me with this team.
Yeah, he's got two Raiders in his starting lineup, and I just don't know that that's like where you want to be.
No, probably not.
Give me this team 2 years ago, like
Yes,
against anything.
yes,
Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs.
yeah,
But yeah, there's just a lot of reasons why I think one could reasonably question this team. Um,
agreed.
but it's at least it's happened before, and so it's not like it couldn't happen again. So I yeah, I'm not gonna totally put the nail in the final nail in his coffin, but yeah, I agree. Don't love the team, but
Sure,
I think that there is a case that can be made for him to be all right here.
sure, sure.
All right, and the last team that we're going to talk about is Jesse. I have Jesse up at a no Chubb, but he's going to be rounding out our reverse Chubb teams here. I think it's okay. I think Josh Allen, Jordan Love. I think that's a great quarterback duo. I think the Alvin Kamara, David Montgomery running back core is pretty good. Don't love Aaron Jones, but again, as your third running back, not the worst thing in the world. I like
Right.
it. He's got a good wide receiver one in CeeDee Lamb. Now, what
Yeah.
I don't love then is like Deontay Johnson, Luke Musgrave. I think Jaden Reed's a nice pick, but a lot of Packers there.
A
And
lot of Packers.
yeah, it's like nothing is like super exciting or scary necessarily on Jesse's team. I'm kind of out on Josh Allen this year. I think without Stephon Diggs and I think with a new offense, I think he's still going to be good, but he's not going to be the best by a long shot that he used to be. So don't love Jesse's team. But again, I will say, kind of wrapping the Chubb rankings up, I don't think there's a clear worst team, and I can't say
No,
there's a clear best team. And I
no.
think that's a good thing. And so I'm thinking it's going to be a relatively competitive year. I know last year, wasn't it? I have to look back. Didn't we have a circumstance where like all but one team, all but like two teams were like within a game of 500, like 8 games in or something like that? It was like
Yeah,
most teams were like 4-4.
yeah.
It was some crazy stat where it was
It was
like,
until it was until week 8. So we were 4-4 for the longest time. Like all of us kind of matching each other's records, kind of going up the leaderboards
right,
throughout the weeks.
right. Yeah, that's what I remember as well. So, yeah, I I think we're gonna have another year like that. I hope we have another balanced year. It's so much more fun when everybody's right around 500, everybody's in the playoff race. So that's I think that's all I got as far as Chubb rankings. Now is the time, Tanner, where I open it up to you to address the league and get anything that you had to say off your chest.
I'm just looking forward to have a fun year with you guys. I made my first trade already, and wow, I don't know, it's a rare thing to do. So
What
I'll
was
try to
your
be
trade?
more.
I don't remember it.
Oh God, I can't remember either.
Well, you didn't trade Fab for Fab. Oh, I see. You traded with
Yeah,
Tommy.
I traded with Tommy Ty Chandler, Keon Coleman, Roma Dunze, Jalen
Okay.
Wright.
Okay.
So still feeling good about that trade for now. I guess we'll see what happens with Rome. So if Rome ends up popping off, then I regret everything. But that's the nature of trades, right? So
Yep. Yep, it is. Yeah, we've had a few early trades here. So always a good time. It's a trade happy league. Part of what makes it fun.
yep, and that's all I got to say. So look forward to playing with you guys this year. It'll be fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tanner, for joining. Thank you, Reno Bros, for watching. And with that, we will end by saying what we always say. Tanner, you don't
I don't
remember?
remember. No, I suck.
Peace out,
Go
Reno
read.
Bros.
Oh, peace out, Reno Bros. God, I'm terrible.